Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, and on my right-hand side here is my right-hand man, Gabriel.
Hi.
And today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Chrome Waves. They have a new album called The Rain Will Cleanse, released on September 10th via Transcending Records. Right now I'm being joined by James to share some more information about what the boys have got going on and about this stellar record, which has a super cool sound, so I've been incredibly excited. Emotionally on the inside. I've been charged for this interview. So James, welcome.
Oh yeah.
Welcome, James.
What's up?
Great having you on, baby.
Yeah. It's been almost exactly a month now since that album came out. And it coincidentally coincides with the same day that I also, I don't know if you can see, if I can lift it high enough, broke my leg that day. So it's been, I've been like counting. I'm like, all right, now it's been a week since this album came out. Let's check the stats and all this and see how it's going. And at the same time, I'm in a cast and got a few more weeks in this too. And they just happen to coincide so well. So it's kept me on the up and up with the release of this album.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, when somebody says for good luck or whatever to break a leg, I don't think they mean it, James.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really mean to. I actually happened to be in Milwaukee last month when this album came out for a wedding of a couple of close friends that I met touring back in the day, and the male component of that marriage, he has been on tour with Chrome Waves a couple of times to do photography and has done some of like our tour flyer work and stuff too, and so. It was a pretty sweet day, but at the end of the day, we were jamming out to some of our own tunes at the end of the reception, and I happened to slip and could not bear any weight, but I drove myself home from Milwaukee and waited a couple of days to go to the Mayo Clinic here in Minnesota, and lo and behold, it was broken. So, wow. But so I will never forget the day that this album came out.
For sure, man. I mean, the rain will cleanse. You just got to stick your leg out into the rain.
I get
it. Break it.
Because sometimes that works when the wind is blown.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so you didn't even know that you broke it. That's crazy.
No, it was that was actually the Friday evening, the 10th, when the album came out, and that was the night I broke it. But so the next morning when I woke up in the hotel room, it was stiff and very large, but there was no bruising. At that point, but when I woke up Sunday morning and I had driven home from Milwaukee, it's about 4 hours away. There was a ton of blood, and my foot was even more swollen. And that's when I work with some nurses and doctors at my actual job, day job, and they took a look at it on Monday. And I called, and I didn't have like a primary care physician or anything set up at all, so. Being a relatively healthy young 30-year-old, I just had to call and go through the whole process of setting up all of that just to be like, okay, can I come in and get an X-ray without going to the ER? And luckily, so I got in the next day. It was the Tuesday after before I got in, and that's when they immediately were like, "Yep, here's a cast." But luckily, it's pretty uncomplicated. It's the fibula, so it's like the outside area of my and bottom of my leg bone. Technically, that's broken. And a month on, it's definitely much better, and I have a little bit of range of motion in it, but I can't like walk without the cast on yet. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, just don't get into any fights, or actually, you could do a roundhouse kick now with your cast on. That would probably be pretty effective.
Yeah, these are, it's the air cast, so you can like blow them up. It's pretty sick. I don't think I would even feel it if I kick somebody in the face.
Wow. That's even better.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of bones in the face. Well, that's cool. Primary care physician. I remember my parents were always stressing that, and then as I got older, I was like, I'm not going to die. What do I need that for? And then it's that question that you get when you go in for something random where they're like, and who's your primary care physician or your family doctor? And I'm like,
yep.
I don't have one of those. And like, do you have any idea if you've ever been immunized? Yeah, tons of times with stuff.
Right. I'm like, yeah, as a kid, but as an adult, I haven't gone to like Central America or anything, so I don't think I've had to, right?
Yeah.
I actually found out I was due for like a the last time they said that I'd gotten one was like 2004. It wasn't tetanus. It was something else. Apparently, you're supposed to get every 10 years as an adult. that I had to get when I went in for the X-ray. So I did that too.
Yeah, that's always fun. Whenever
Right.
I get, because I work in culinary, and whenever I cut myself with a knife enough to warrant going into the clinic, I always get that question: have you ever had your tetanus shot? And in that moment, I'm always like, I don't know. Even though it was probably like a year ago that I had a tetanus shot. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure my knife was not rusted. Thank you very much.
Right.
You know. Cool.
Be a well-rated kitchen.
Yeah.
If it was.
Yeah. Milwaukee. It reminded me of Wayne's World when you said that, where Alice Cooper is like, Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the Great Land.
Is it actually, though? I wouldn't be surprised, because Wisconsin's like 90% of the city and town names are of native tongue, essentially, and Anglicized.
Yeah.
But
So I'd have to look that up. I've been told, and I didn't look it up either, but where I'm from in Canada, Winnipeg, is an indigenous term for muddy water.
oh, interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah. How do you spell Milwaukee? I don't want to know the Milwaukee weather. I'm sure it's nice.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, there we go. Milwaukee meaning. It says Alice Cooper on Google.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah, good, beautiful, pleasant land. There it is. Alice Cooper was not wrong. Does this guy know how to party or what?
No kidding.
Speaking of partying and the album, The Rain Will Cleanse, so many great questions. Number one, incredible soundscapes. It's like, I remember the first time I heard it, I thought, that is one of the most killer guitar sounds that's both in my face and ridiculously far away at the same time.
That is a good way of putting it. I think a lot of people thus far have thought that the guitar tones on the album were synth, and we didn't actually play hardly any synth on anything. There's actually a lot more synth on the last album, Where We Live, than this one. It was primarily all guitar, and for the most part, it was actually VSTs. It wasn't actual pedals. All the rhythm guitar was tracked like actual live guitar mics. But for the most part, except for I think on track 3, Tired, it was all VSTs. Track 3, I was using. Well, I think I have the pedal in the room somewhere in here, but it's the Ocean's 11 reverb pedal. Mm-hmm. Probably my favorite pedal of them all. I like reverb. You can't tell.
Because you got tired of other stuff on that track. So you
So you recorded an Ocean.
That's right. Ocean's 11 reverb. I'll have to look that up. Anybody in the comments down below, what's your favorite reverb?
Mine is ChromeWaves.
Yeah. Is it Chrome Verb or Chromaverb? Chrome Waves Verb. It's in Logic Pro. And great sounding reverbs. They came out with it a couple of years ago. My only complaint is it is a... you can turn it off, thankfully, but whenever the reverb goes, it has like a light show, and I'm thinking that does nothing to make it sound better. It just uses up CPU, so I turn that off.
It hogs up CPU.
To make it look nice, right? Because they can do that now. So
it's the cutters. It's the cutters
That's actually what we primarily were recording. Like here at home, I use Reaper for pretty much everything, but we recorded pretty much all of this album last September, the same week the last album was coming out, and we were at Jeff's place, and he uses a Mac and Logic Pro and all that jazz. Which I actually started in like Logic 9. That was like my first DAW outside of Audacity.
Woo!
But the CPU usage in Logic is like efficient as hell compared to some of the shit that I like. Some of the Neural DSP plugins that I've used on like a couple of albums, and like primarily what I do a lot of the demoing of guitar in. Man, I like struggle with like it's taking up 12% CPU for a single effect.
Yeah,
a single like amp.
Yeah. I know. All Logic Pro users out there are going, see, right? And then the Reaper users are they're bracking anyway.
Yeah.
Because they need to. They have to in order to maintain self-esteem.
What makes Logic, like, hog up a lot of your CPU? Like, all of the, like, cutter, like a sound comes in a plugin, and then, so is CPU taken up because of how many, like, ChromaVobs I usually have. Obviously, I do use other reverbs, but...
Yeah. Okay, now going back to the guitar sound. The funny thing is, I could see now, you mentioned a lot of people think it's synthesizer. I could see now why people did that, and I guess because I know what a guitar sounds like, I didn't think that. I just heard this like really bitey, like an active pickup kind of sound, like an EMG or a Fishman, just really bitey, super tight, active sound. And either parallel, oh, look at that. There it is. Is that an 8185?
Yeah, these are, and this is a kind of custom LTD. It's got the Evertune bridge on it.
I see that
as well. So fancy schmancy, but Jeff plays one as well without the Evertune bridge, basically. So that wasn't on purpose. I literally got this guitar from a different bandmate up here in Minnesota, and Jeff just happened to also have an LTD of the same model, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, and
then maybe parallel reverb, because how do you get that much reverb without muddying or drowning out the sound?
I don't worry about that until it gets back to me in a mix. Basically, I'm not the expert on that. I create what I think to me sounds pretty good, and then when I send it to somebody this is also why I don't do a lot of my own mixing. Like, I've mixed like 2 songs ever that are published, at least, and generally I overload it and then kind of check out the frequency ranges and see if there's a lot of clash or not. Within within Reaper, at least, I use a lot of the RIA EQ.
Mm-hmm. And EQ.
Yeah. And that's generally how I try to stop things from clashing too much. Jeff was really the engineer in this album, as really the last 2 as well, for the most part. Like, a lot of the EP stuff, like, gets tracked by me, and then the albums I generally go down to his place to track. Mm-hmm. Or I send him stuff. Actually, I did all of the vocals to this album last December, here at home, sitting right here. I don't even think I stood up to track any of them.
No, you were tired.
I was tired. Joke's gonna get, oh man, I'm gonna get nailed for that for forever now.
Well, speaking of lyrics, is there a theme to the album?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain without sounding too cheesy. I think the press release that I put out, I was maybe a little too intoxicated to have been writing what the theme was. But essentially, going into like the instrumentals of all of these tracks, I think the only one that I had lyrics for before it was like, okay, these are the 6 tracks that we're going to put out, was Tired. And then the others, I literally, like I said, when I sat down in December to actually track vocals, and I ended up doing them here because of COVID, I kind of just wrote all on the fly. But I had, based off basically Tired, the idea to write like thematically from the music being kind of like an upbeat, but kind of somewhat sad story, like relationship stories. Like, that was kind of the theme of it. And I said in my press release, essentially, that went out when with Transcending, when they released the information on this album coming out, that I was really thinking about like 80s love songs at the time, and that, I mean, it all goes back to Wham for me. Mm-hmm. So that was essentially where the lyrical content came from. And I mean, that's not to say that, again, I was just like trying to write to a certain story by any means. It was just kind of what felt right. And I kind of ad-libbed a lot of it. There's a couple choruses in there that I just made up on the spot, started tracking. I had like the melody in mind. Like, sometimes I was just like, and then just kept that part on repeat for like 5 minutes until I figured out what I wanted to say. And that's kind of my take on doing lyrics for a lot of stuff lately. I used to like sit and write out all these like long paragraphs and then get to writing a song and being like, this doesn't work at all. I can't fit these I can't fit these like syllables in this amount of space.
Yeah. Well, that's the important thing, right? You got to work on the melody, and then when the melody's there, you can work out your vowels, and then when you got your vowels worked out, you go, all right, What rhymes with tattoo? You do. I got a you do tattoo. Then a country song comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, you've been listening to a little outlaw country up there in Winnipeg. I know that it is a little bit of the Wild West up there. It's no Calgary, but
no, definitely no Calgary, but for sure, definitely some. I'm an outlaw country. Be a rebel. I'm a rebel outlaw country.
Ooh,
Winnipeg is the Georgia of Canada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Alberta's the Florida of Canada, and the Texas all rolled into one.
You're right. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, for the love of. Oh, it's okay. I now have I live in Alberta now. Yeah, you either come for love or for money, and I came for the money, and I'm unfortunately staying for the love. Because I met my beautiful wife, and then we now have 2 beautiful children. But we do have an escape plan because this place sucks. But what doesn't suck is Chrome Waves, everybody. So on today's show notes, the band's website is available, chromewaves.bandcamp.com. The album, The Rain Will Cleanse, is available everywhere you consume music. And 2 music videos that are available, that I'm aware of anyway, will be available in today's show notes, Sometimes and Wind Blown. So if you are listening in right now on Spotify, Apple Music, Google, the Googs, or you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on the website, therockmetalpodcast.ca, you can see how tremendously good looking we all are. It's almost ridiculous. Oh, yeah. It's unfair.
I showered this week, so
it's good.
I'm feeling pretty good. I look good.
Yeah, no, you do. You can't, from this angle, like if somebody shook me up and gave me a couple of beers and then punched me in the face and said, you're going to do an interview with Dimebag, I'd believe it.
Yeah, I got the Bass Pro Shop hat on today too. I bought this for $5 last week. I needed some new hats because I kind of wear them out.
Wow, cool. So that's it. We chatted about breaking a leg. We chatted about Milwaukee and Wayne's World and Alice Cooper. We chatted about synthesizers.
We also chatted about Ocean's 11 Reverb.
Ocean's 11 Reverb, which I looked up on the interwebs. Yeah.
It's the best reverb yet.
Best reverb yet. Well, the thing I like about it, and maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not, but it looks like it has 20 different reverbs in it. A plate, a reverse reverb, an echo, a tremolo, a modulated reverb. I don't know what dyna means. Is that a compressed reverb? So like it's compression and reverb?
That's a good question. One sec. I know it's right behind me. I'm going to grab it.
They even have an octave reverb. That's cool.
Dyno. I don't see that.
Dyna right there.
Dynamic. I think that's just what it's supposed to stand for, of course, but I'm not sure what dynamic. Honestly, there
it is.
Yeah, this bad boy, I for the most part use the plate and the shimmer. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of reverbs with shimmer effects on them. So
yeah,
that is a huge piece of a lot of Chrome Wave stuff for the last couple of records now.
Wow. Very cool stuff, baby. Okay, well, that concludes my questions. So once again, everybody listening in or watching, you can go into today's show notes, check out chromewaves.bandcamp.com. Anywhere that you consume music, the album The Rain Will Cleanse, out via Transcending Records, available wherever it is that you consume music. The 2 music videos, Sometimes and Wind Blown, links available in the show notes below. James, great having you on, baby.
Yeah, thank you for having me back for a different band now.
You're quite welcome. And, man, when was that? I guess maybe if you just type in James Benson Rock Metal Podcast, you should be able to.
It was January of 2021, yeah.
Okay.
Because that was when the Comatose album came out.
Yeah, beautiful. So look up some things, Rock Metal Nation people, lovers.
Hell yeah.
James Benson, Comatose.
We also just reached 200 subscribers. That's a big moment for us.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, so on Spotify we have over 2,000. I don't know anywhere else because stats are, speaking of the Wild West, stats on podcasts are most weird and probably not even true. And they keep changing it as well.
Wow.
About 3 years ago, some committee somewhere was like, let's change the way we calculate downloads. So you could drop thousands of downloads a month all of a sudden because they changed the way that they calculate downloads, because there really are no downloads anymore. Now it's actually just streams.
This was
Yeah.
This
Because
was
podcasts
very-
used to be downloads. You had to download an MP3 from iTunes and load it
Yep.
onto your iPod. Yeah.
Indeed. Okay.
What's up, sweetie? And then on YouTube, which we started doing during the pandemic, we're now at 200 subscribers, so that's good. What's up, baby?
This was the last interview was on February 18th.
Well, we chatted in January. However, it probably released a month later.
Well, yeah.
So episode 896 for anybody who was curious about that. And
Wow.
then, yeah.
Yeah, Comatose.
Comatose!
So
James!
look up Comatose, the Rock and Roll Podcast, and you should find it.
Yeah. All right, James. Great having you on, baby.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back, man.